this?
It is that and parenting time, because now child support, how much you pay is based upon how much time you have with your child, and generally speaking.
Is that right?
So now parenting time is a very, very hot issue at this point, because if you have more parenting time, you pay less in child support. So the change is 146 overnights. So a lot of people are wanting 146 overnights, not necessarily because they want to spend that time with their child, but they want to pay less in child support.
Unfortunately, that's probably true.
Yep. Yep.
Talk a little bit about the change here in Illinois about the no fault divorce.
Sure. So there used to be a number of ways, and I think a lot of people would wish those were back here. There used to be a number of ways to get divorced in Illinois, such as adultery, drunkenness, being arrested for a felony. You know, so many ways. And now it's just simply no fault divorce. So you could be the worst person on earth, and that is not in any way going to impact the fact that you were somehow at fault for the divorce. So, and even I have people who want to put into documents, you know, I want it known that he or she did X, Y, or Z. And it just, unfortunately, there's nothing we can do there because it's a no fault state now. So I understand that you want that, but that's just not really where we're headed here.
It's really changed everything.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's just simply very vanilla language. So as we don't ignite anybody's emotions, and it's different.
So sometimes sometimes it can appear to be a travesty of justice.
It can be, because there are certain cases where one party has been so wronged emotionally, financially, and the documents are silent. And so, you know, for example, they could be saddled with a bunch of debt and through no fault of their own. And the documents don't read that way if some person were to go pull their documents. And so it is unfortunate.
Talk a little bit about debt after bankruptcy then.
Sure.
After divorce.
After divorce. In your realm, so you have, for example, if you had parties who owed any amount of debt, 10,000, 20,000, that will be somehow allocated between the parties. And a lot of times you have credit cards where both names, you know, one's a primary, one's a secondary on a card. There's $10,000 owed on the card. The parties have to pay it off. So obviously both parties' credit and social security numbers are tied to those credit cards. And if the person who's charged with paying that off, they don't pay it off, then your only recourse is to go back to the divorce if that creditor comes after you. And you could speak to whether that creditor would actually come after that person or not.
Well, absolutely they would. But talk a little then about mortgages, because that's a big one.
Right. So a lot of times,
and I hate to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
but they're usually accounted for somewhere in the divorce decree, and so everybody thinks that's the end of it.
Right. No, and it's not. Depending on on how things unfold, because a lot of times you have a client where one person gets awarded the house, they buy out the other for their marital interest in the home, and then they have a certain period of time to remove the other's name from the home. But there's a whole host of problems that can go on from the period of judgment to the period of time that they have to remove it, such as failure to pay the mortgage, or and so then the house has to sell. Then the house doesn't sell, and it goes into some type of foreclosures process, and there's a short sale, and then there's a deficiency, and then, you know, it's just so much needs to be considered, that not only in filing for divorce and entering your divorce decree, you definitely need to consult with an accountant or a bankruptcy attorney, or so that they fully understand what the ramifications of this document could possibly be.